Welcome to Yo-11 Minutes. Yo-11 Minutes, mostly Vegas, no BS casino experience and more. Michael Trager is a casino and travel loyalty expert who also helps people turn their travel dreams into reality. And now, your host, Michael Trager. How's it going, Michael?
It's going great. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. It's Thursday, but it feels like Friday for some reason. I don't know why. It just kind of
Thank
does.
God it's Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
Friday.
No news story today. Slow news, so nothing really going on. Um, AT&T hacked sort of, well, we don't know it's a hack yet, took over the news cycle today, even out here. So yeah, nothing new to report. Hopefully next week, juicy
It
things.
was not a hack. There was just an operational problem.
Mhm. That the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are looking into. Yes,
Yeah, I was on Wi-Fi, so I didn't even notice.
yeah. I mean, they don't look into it when, every Blizzard ice cream maker at McDonald's goes down every summer.
Those are very famous. Why those machines break down so they're a very complicated machine. I've read
Apparently.
about them. That's another story for another time. I
Yes.
mean, in other news, I got invited today on a fully paid trip to Finland by the Finnish people for me to learn more about Finland. So
Oh,
that might be in April. So that
okay.
was some good news today. Yeah, that's it. So I might be off to Finland as long as I can fit it into my schedule.
Wow.
Schedule. As long as I can fit it into my schedule, I'll do it.
Well, when you finish getting it into your schedule, oh, that was horrible. Never mind. That was a bad
Schedule.
schedule. Finish schedule. Okay.
We do a lot, we do a lot about like pronunciations. Though
Yeah.
actually last night at 3:30 in the morning, I was on with Frank Morano on 77 WABC, and part of what we talked about last night, and I put that in the show notes, is the title for today, which is Guess the Top Performing Casino Outside of Nevada.
Wow. That's a good one. I don't even know what the top one is. I didn't look at any of the thing. Like you sent a image with words on it, so I didn't read it. I just sized it to the screen, and that was it.
So
Uh,
let's get into the tease.
sure, why not? It is time for the tease.
Surely I will take it away. So I put some links in the show notes that you will see, but the big news this week, which we didn't do as a news story, is that US casinos won nearly 67 billion dollars from gamblers last year, their biggest single year haul ever. And that slot machines brought in the most revenue. Duh. While sports betting saw the biggest increase. Americans legally wagered 120 billion on sports. Is that correct? Up 28% from 2022 AP reports. Those totals don't include tribal casinos, and those revenues would likely push the industry's total winning closer to $110 billion. So, yeah, it probably is actually correct because that was legally wagered. Because the main news is that casinos won, we'll repeat this again, $67 billion. So, when someone tells you they have a system to beat the casinos, just remember that $67 billion. Now, no surprise, Nevada was and remains the nation's top gambling market with a whooping $15.5 billion in revenue. But can you guess the second largest market? Now, we're not talking individual casinos,
Hmm.
and a lot of people forget this, and that is Pennsylvania at $5.86 billion, followed closely by the casinos down the road in Atlantic City at 5.77 billion. So basically, Pennsylvania and Atlantic City in revenue are almost the same, then followed by New York at 4.71 billion,
Hmm.
then followed by Michigan at 3.58 billion, Ohio, Indiana, Louisiana, and Illinois at 2.52 billion. But Pennsylvania a couple of years ago actually surpassed Atlantic City as the second largest gambling market. And of course, as we know, Nevada is the top one. The Nevada Gaming Control Board said it didn't give a lot of insight into why there was increased revenue other than saying that there were a number of special events in the state and there is continued demand for gaming. I guess that's a nice way to say that people love to gamble. And the top 3 months of all time in Nevada were July, November, and December of 2023. Of course, we know all of the reasons why. We had so many things happening with F1, lead up to Super Bowl, New Year's Eve, conventions, Sphere, residencies, blah, 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 rest of the country, lots of other stuff going on, especially with sports betting being rather new in a lot of markets. But now the question, or what you're really curious about, is what are the top performing US casinos?
Hmm.
So we know the market outside of the top performing market outside of Nevada is Pennsylvania and then Atlantic City. But the top performing casinos probably will surprise you. Starting with number 4, top performing casino outside of that state that starts with the letter N is Borgata Atlantic City, followed by number 3, which is Encore Boston Harbor. Some of the figures that I have shown actually show that Atlantic City, Borgata Atlantic City was a little higher than Encore. They're really, really close. They're both in the 700 million range. Then followed by number 2, which you probably wouldn't guess, is MGM National Harbor, which is 800 million. And then the number 1 is the Genting Group. Remember Genting at Resorts World Las Vegas that runs Resorts World New York City, which is a complex in Queens, very, very close to JFK Airport.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 900 million, which is a 20% increase year over year. And by the way, they have 6,500 slot machines. They have no live table games. They have no sports book. And I think they're still class 2, not even class 3 gaming at Resorts World. But they are the number 1, the Genting Group Resorts World New
Wow.
York City gaming complex. And I bet you didn't figure that was the case.
I did not. I thought maybe Boston, MGM National Harbor. I was thinking that one, but I was surprised about Resorts World New York. I'm happy for Resorts World New York because I was there on opening day. Because I would pass
Really?
it on. Yeah, I would pass it. I was taking the A train. I lived out in Rockaway Beach at the time, so on the way home from work, I'd be on the train. I would see it developing, and then they started saying opening days on such and such a day. So I was following that because a casino in within the 5 boroughs of New York, without having to go upstate or whatever, it was a big deal. And so opening day happened, and after work, I went straight there and got online and went in, and I was happy to be in a casino environment. And yes, you are correct. No table games at all. It's all slot machines. They have a nice. They have this nice restaurant. They have a buffet. I'm trying to remember everything. It was some time ago that it opened. But yeah, nice establishment. But it was interesting because they didn't want to call it a casino at first because it would not have been legal to call it a casino. So they called it a racino, which is a casino next to the Aqueduct racetrack. Don't know if you knew that. But it's right next to the Aqueduct racetrack. So you can literally go outside.
Wait, is that another Resorts World? Is that the one that's in Yonkers? Because this is the one in
Yeah,
Queens.
the one in Queens. That's the one.
Okay, you see, I pay no attention to these casinos, but are they These racinos are class 2, correct? They're not class 3 gaming.
I believe so, and that's why there's no table games. But it's it's run, believe it or not, in a partnership with the New York City Lottery. So every time it has an attached bingo system to it. So
Hmm.
every time
That's
you
class 2.
yes, every time that you hit you spin the reels or whatever the case, a little electronic bingo symbol pops up in the corner of the screen. Not sure why. I mean, I still don't get why it has to be bingo for like no one's looking at the bingo part of it. No one's there with a card. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm not sure if you spell out bingo that you get a jackpot. I'm not sure how that worked. I'm still very
Well,
confused
nobody
by that.
talks about class 2 very much. I mean, with slot machines, it's not a standard random number generator. It's a bingo game in the background. So
Right.
with slot machines, it doesn't really impact you that much with the gameplay, I guess. With video poker, it does because you can't choose the cards you hold, or if you hold the wrong cards, it corrects the cards, or something weird with video. I think class 2 gaming is so uninteresting to me, but I just thought this whole number 1 is cool. But what's so interesting is when you look at these casinos outside of Nevada, you have New York, you have Washington, D.C., you have Boston, and you have Atlantic City. So it's totally that incredible East Coast power of gaming. Basically, four of the highest performing casinos. And what's also another really interesting thing about Encore is that figure for Encore is pretty much so like almost the entire state. Remember, Massachusetts has three casinos. It has Plainville and MGM in Springfield, but almost all of the revenue is Encore Boston Harbor. And they did that because they have three zones, two resort casinos and one non-resort casino. So I think that's sort of interesting. So Encore totally owns that market. And Borgata, his numbers have been great year over year, but Hard Rock is getting very, very close. Hard Rock and Ocean are doing very, very well in Atlantic City. And MGM National Harbor, no surprise with the proximity to Washington, D.C., because we all know that politicians love to gamble. That's that's it. That's all we have for you today. Hopefully, we didn't screw up too many of the facts too much. But anyway, the big facts were, the most successful year for casinos winning money in the history of casinos in the United States, and then a rundown of four of the top performing casinos outside of everyone's favorite state.
So with that, I have to ask you, and it doesn't have to be any that were mentioned in the list, but what is your favorite casino outside of Nevada?
Dun dun dun. Casino Market.
Casino, casino property,
Casino
casino.
Market. Casino Market is definitely Atlantic City. Is my favorite casino market. It might be more of my favorite casino market than even Nevada. My favorite casino outside of Nevada was Mohegan Sun for a long time, but I would say Borgata's pretty high up there. I really like those casinos, but now I'm sweet on Hard Rock, so I'm not going to be able to give you a good answer on that. It used to be for years it was Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, but I just haven't gone there in a long time. And it was a good property. You also could smoke your cigars in the lounge, but now they've gone totally non-smoking, so I'm probably not going to be happy with Mohegan Sun anymore. But
All right.
but Borgata has, I'm sort of a sappy person and I'm very nostalgic with things. So Borgata definitely has a sweet spot in my heart. But you know, Hard Rock's growing on me.
Before we get yeah,
And don't ask me about my favorite casino in Las Vegas. Well, actually, you can. It's gonna be Win. It's got to be Win. It's always Win.
yeah,
Win is
I
great.
kind of figured that would be the case. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I didn't ask you what your favorite one in Nevada is. Oh,
Yeah, no, it's and you know what I love Encore Boston Harbor, and there's not a lot that you can find wrong with Encore Boston Harbor, but I just find the table gaming vibe better in Atlantic City. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Especially Craps. Craps is just not so great in Massachusetts. I don't know why. It's just not vibey. Also, grumpy New Englanders. But we used to have that at Mohegan Sun once. Oh my God.
I
You know,
think
okay, I'll leave you with the one funny story afterwards. At Mohegan Sun, if you played decently and you had a decent card, sometimes you could have people roll for you, you know, if you have your wife or your friend next to you. And one grumpy New Englander once, I'll never forget this. I think I had my wife roll and then another friend roll. And he's like, and he said to the pit boss, "What are you going to have? The whole family roll?" And she was like, "Yes, he can have up to 4 people roll for him." And this guy was just so grumpy. Also, at Mohegan Sun is the only other place I ever saw where the cocktail waitresses were afraid to come to the craps table. And that happened all the time because of superstitious craps players. I've never seen this anywhere else but Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, where if the cocktail waitress came by and someone got that evil number and sevened out, they would scream at the cocktail waitress that it was her fault because she came by, which then causes the cocktail waitresses to never return to your table again for the entire evening. So I've never seen that anywhere else. Lots of something about grumpy New Englanders. They just I don't know, not grumpy people. Grumpy people. Okay, broad stroke grumpy people. I don't want hate mail from New Englanders. So that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. Grumpy New Englanders today.
all
And the
right.
top performing casino property.
Before we get going, do you have what's on your mind? Any closing remarks?
No more closing remarks. I talk more about this top performing casino stuff. I spoke about it last night on 77 WABC with Frankie Morano, and I will put a link in the show notes. That's it. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for listening. Thank you also for prodding me when I forget or don't get a chance to get the podcast feed up. Movestro always does his job properly and gets YouTube up, but sometimes, just dropped a die, sometimes it takes me an extra little bit of time to get the episode uploaded. But the episodes, just so you know, are always uploaded pretty much so immediately after we record them because Movestro is a master.
I do what I can. Luxury travel booking, TravelZork Travel. Visit us at TravelZork.travel to plan your next amazing vacation. And please join the conversation on social media. You can find us easily. All social platforms are at TravelZork. We'll see you next time.